Hey y'all, real quick, I just wanted to come on and encourage you. Listen real quick. So this is, I think, might be a little bit funny to y'all because I don't know if y'all was in the same boat that I was in the other day. Child, I was trying to transfer all of my data from TikTok over to my YouTube page, right? Y'all go on and follow me on YouTube. It's under Tamisha Claiborne. You'll be able to find me there as well. You'll see some of my older content that I was able to transfer, but that's beyond the point. Okay. Why was I doing that? What was it? Friday night? No, was it Saturday night? I was trying to get everything transferred over before the whole shutdown thing, right? And at 9:38 p.m. on the dot, my TikTok said, due to the ban, we are shutting you down. Blah, 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 blah. Some of y'all probably saw that same message, right? And I was like, oh, crap. Now what? Right? So then I had to go into my archive. Thank goodness I put everything in my cloud. But what I noticed was interesting that normally it'll save my TikTok version of my video in my cloud as well. But none of my TikTok versions of my videos were in my cloud. That was interesting. But listen, y'all. So it told me to put in a petition to get my TikTok back so I could at least download my stuff. And then I log in later the afternoon on Sunday, this past Sunday, and it basically gave me back access to TikTok. So I'm wondering, do we have access now or not? Or is it for temporary? I don't know if it's temporary or not, but child, I'm about to transfer everything over. But that's not the point of this message. I wanted to come on and encourage y'all real quick because, listen, I know some of you your hearts are a little bit broken after yesterday. And personally, I did not watch, the inauguration at all yesterday. But I've talked to a few people today whose hearts were broken, right? Because we had so much hope in the American laws, and that they would apply to everyone like they're supposed to, but clearly they don't. But that's neither here nor there. I want to encourage you though, because here's the thing. We still have hope, because it's not the end of the world just yet. And like I've been telling y'all for the longest, just because something looks like it's going to be a certain way doesn't necessarily mean that the outcome is going to be what we think it's going to be. Sometimes it will seem as if the enemy may have won at first. And I'm going somewhere with this. Stick with me now, okay? And it may appear that the outcome is not in your favor. But one thing I know about God, especially when you go through and you read the Bible, okay, and the stories in the Bible, especially the ones about Joseph and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and how when it seemed like, for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in that story, when it seemed like the king had won in the moment, right? Because it got all the way to the point where they got thrown into the fire. And they were in the fire, okay? And it says in the Bible, the fire was so hot that anyone who stood in front of the fiery furnace could have been killed just by standing in front of it. Okay, that's how hot that the king made them make the fire. Okay, yet and still they came out of that fire unsinged, not burned, unharmed. And while they were in there, people saw that there was just more than just the three, that God, Jesus, was in there with them too, because they saw four instead of just three. Stick with me now, okay? So if for them it had got all the way to the point where they got thrown in the fire, And anyone in their carnal mind seeing something like that would be discouraged and think that it was over for them. But God proved otherwise. Joseph, his brothers threw him in the pit and sold him into slavery and told the father that he was killed. Stole his beautiful coat that the father made for him and told his father that he was killed. So the father was believing that his son was killed, that his son was dead. But in the end, Joseph's dreams that God had kept showing him that his brothers were going to bow before him came true. And in the end, he ended up being the one who basically saved his family from the famine and helped them during the famine to not starve to death. I hope y'all are picking up what I'm putting down. Okay. So when it seemed like the enemy had won, when it seemed like it was the end, it was not the end. When it seemed like it was the end all be all, they were supposed to die. They were supposed to not live through the tragic things that they had gone through. In the end, they became greater than they were before. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? So I want to encourage you, because even though it appears that the enemy has won in this situation, and I'm referring to the inauguration, but this can apply to any situation in your life that you've been battling and going through, and it seems like the enemy has won the battle. I want to remind you that in the end, God wins every time. And in the end, God will make you victorious every time. So I wanted to come on and encourage you real quick, because I know some of you, your hearts are broken and all the things, right? But I want you to understand that, like I gave you those examples of the stories in the Bible of when they were, the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were thrown in the fire. They were thrown in the fire, should have died, came out unsinged. And then the king then had to recognize their God, which is our God, as God, right? He had to recognize that, yes, our God is the ultimate God, is God. He is God, right? And Joseph and his brothers turning against him, throwing him in the pit, selling him into slavery, telling the father that he had died. It seemed like the end of the story, but it wasn't the end of the story, because in the end, the dream that God showed Joseph came true. And his brothers, he ended up being the one to bring them out of their famine. I need you to understand that right now, it may appear as if it's not a good situation, but I'm telling you that in the end, God is going to still bless. He's still going to bring you out victorious. So I want you to hold on to your faith. Don't allow what you see in front of you to discourage you. Okay? Keep the faith. Keep moving forward in God. Okay. So I don't know how long this video gonna be. I don't know how long TikTok gonna stay up, whatever, for us, but hopefully those of you that need to see this are going to see this. And I pray that it reaches those of you that it needs to reach. And I pray that when you see this video, that you are going to have a more encouragement than you've had before. And I pray that you get something out of it to know that God is still working things out for you. Do y'all hear me? Okay. Now, I love y'all. Y'all know I love you. Now, you go out and you make it a great day on purpose. And don't you go messing up nobody else's day. Do you hear me? And I want you to hold on, because God is not done yet. And the God that we know, because even when Jesus was killed on the cross, they thought that he was gone for good. But God raised him up 3 days later. So in the end, God won. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. All right, I love y'all. Y'all know I love you. Now you go out and make it a great day on purpose, and don't you go mess up nobody else's day, okay? All right, love y'all. Bye.